Hello. Hello, hello, hello. How's it going, everyone? Welcome to another Game of Thrones read. Just finished the Arya chapter an hour ago. And now we're going to read two more. Winter is came. 5 chapters easy today? No. We're going to do the Bran chapter and then the Tyrion chapter. Tyrion chapter is a short chapter. So we're probably just going to do 2 chapters. Because again, I'm not going to read this every single chapter through. The Arya chapter, not a lot happens in that chapter. The Arya chapter, she sucks at needlework, runs out to see the boys fighting, and just wishes she could fight. And then all of a sudden she goes back to her room, and it's not just the Septa, it's the Septa and her mother. It's not like a crazy good chapter, but it's just 3 and... I just made a quick video about the 3 things that I love about her, which are her loyalty, her humor, and her sense of justice. Yeah, needle. Oh, there you go. She sucks at needlework, but she's really good at needles. Wow, I never even thought about that. She's got a sword named Needle. That's funny. I never really even realized that. Wow. You bought a copy of The Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, but it got lost in the mail. No, bummer. Ooh, Michael, you finished the book. Michael, what's your take on the book so far? Well, I guess now that you finished it. Rank it out of 10 for me. Where does it place out of 10? The Arya chapter is good. George R. R. Martin is good at again, I feel like he has an idea in mind for what he wants to communicate with the character, and then he just executes that idea. It's like, it feels like very economic writing, which I just like. You understand who the characters are pretty well. Ooh, 8.75 out of 10. Dang. What's like a 9 on your scale? Give me like a litmus test, or give me like a baseline test. What's like a 9? So I read The Mystery Knight on my own time. And I just made a quick video about it, about ranking the 3. Nice. I love that. Do a little reread as I'm reading live. That's fantastic. That way we can just go through it slow and just, because I'm going to go through this really slow. Interesting. He was a journalism major. That's funny. Wow. Lord of the Rings is a 9. Dang. Do you rank anything as a 10? That's great that you rate it 8.75 out of 10. That's fantastic. George R. R. Martin was a journalism major. That makes sense. He does write in a journalistic way. But it's not like overly journalistic. Like some people talk about the writing of Hemingway as being not really journalistic, but just being plain, simple, boring. Lonesome Dove is a 10 out of 10. That's crazy. I don't know. Lonesome Dove was higher than Lord of the Rings in your scale. That's crazy. Do you love Lord of the Rings more than Lonesome Dove, or Lonesome Dove more than Lord of the Rings? But yeah, I'm liking his writing style. It's just simple, but very in depth. I realized the identity of Maynard Plum in The Mystery Knight. There were a lot of names in The Mystery Knight that I just missed. Maynard Plum. Yeah, George R. R. Martin is definitely an efficient writer. So, interestingly, I had someone recommend Gabriel Garcia Marquez, or Marquez, to me when I was in a big reading phase of reading like really good literature, like 10 years ago, and I did not like 100 Years of Solitude. I didn't finish it, so I read like the first like 5 chapters and was just so not into it that I stopped reading. I haven't read anything else by that guy, so there you go. But we'll probably do something with him with 100 Years of Solitude. Did I say 100 Days of Solitude? 100 Years of Solitude? I'll read that on the Classics channel or something. Love in the Time of Cholera. I didn't know he wrote that too. That's interesting. Yeah, guys, check that out. That sounds great. I've heard that that's great. Does it tell you in the book? Is it a spoiler to tell him who Maynard Plum is? Wait, well, hold on. Really quick, don't tell me quite yet. Maynard Plum in the Maynard Plum. Remind me who he was in the Mystery Knight. Not like his actual identity. What did he do in the Mystery Knight again? Was he the guy that he wasn't the guy that got beaten up, right? Yeah, who is Maynard Plum? Someone enlighten me. Also, everyone like the stream. Come on, people. Like the stream. We're going to start reading in 5-10 minutes. And I want to look it up. Does it tell you in A Mystery Knight who he is? So, who is the guy? What does he do in it again? He helps Dunk and tells him where Egg is. Oh, that's Maynard Plum? Okay, He was one of the knights they met along the way. Was he the grumpy one? Wait, hold on, I'm trying to figure it out. The Mystery Knight wasn't. I think the first novella is by far the best one. Mystery Knight was good. It was like too many like random characters that I just didn't know, because I just don't know a bunch of the other goings on of the rebellion or all these other things. Like apparently Bloodraven is in the show. Not in the Night of the Seven Kingdoms show, but apparently Raven is in what's his face in a Game of Thrones show. And I don't know who he is. So no one tell me who he is. But I'm so curious to see who the heck that is. I don't know about the character Plum is supposed to be either. How many years earlier is A Night of the Seven Kingdoms than A Game of Thrones? '90, 85. Okay. So whoever Plum is he in it, or is he just like a descendant of someone? I need to reread A Mystery Knight so I can figure that out. That's one thing I really don't know. 3 weeks before. That's one thing I think. Like, I know the Lord of the Rings world a lot better than I know the Westeros world. Like, I don't know the cultures of things. Because I grew up with the movies and like the appendices and was in that a little while. Like, I don't really know about a lot of these characters in A Game of Thrones. Like, I know the main ones, obviously, but I don't know that much after that. Like, I couldn't tell you who some of these side characters are, or like who they're related to, or about the rebellions, or about the time periods, and like, who owns what, yada yada. It's very political, which is a little more confusing. So that's why I want to go through this really slow and just kind of soak it up. Yeah, just let the history and the lore wash past. But I do like soaking that stuff up, so. The Sworn Sword and the Mystery Knight have much more historical. That's okay. I kind of agree with the Mystery Knight. I didn't feel like the Sworn Sword had that much, but I probably missed that. The Sworn Sword just felt like a little standalone story. But the political background of this third story felt very much like over my head. Like, I didn't really know what was going on. They were talking about the Blackfire Rebellion all the time, and even yeah, like it was. I just didn't compute with me because I've never really read or like heard about that before. The only mentions that I've known, or that the only things that I've heard of that are things that are in A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, or things that I've heard from like House of the Dragon, or Game of Thrones, or like the series stuff, which I really don't know that much. So like I don't know a lot. I can't place a lot of the political stuff in my head very easily. ADWD. ADWD. What's ADWD? Ooh, you're in the Melisandre territory. Dang. Yeah, she's in the show. Oh, A Dance with Dragons. Okay, thank you. Yeah, I don't even know the titles of all the books, really. Yeah, maybe we'll just do this whenever I finish this in, years. It'll probably be 5 years. I have to say, we are making it through not faster than I thought, but that's like, what? It's like 100 pages? No, 65 pages. That's honestly a little faster than I thought I was going to do. This probably would have taken me a lot longer for Lord of the Rings. I'm not doing as many essays on every single chapter, so I could read a little quicker. But ooh, there's a map. I just get distracted by maps. The Eyrie seems rough to live in. But yeah. Yeah, I think this could be a lot faster of a read. But I don't necessarily, I love a very passionately slow read, Red King Killer, have you read King Killer Chronicles? Nope. Have not. By who? By whom? Also, my lighting is crazy because it's a partially cloudy day and it's the worst kind of light for recording this stuff. I don't have the blinds drawn because that's another thing, but that's another unfinished series by George? Is that by George, the King Killer? Or is that a different author? I hope it's a different author. Poor George. Can't catch a break. Yeah, that's what Danny did. Danny did... Oh, Patrick Rothfuss. Okay, interesting. Danny read A Game of Thrones quick when he was like out in New Zealand and in Australia, just like touring around, and he just consumed it all in like a month. I do that, but with like books like this, I just love to soak in them longer because you only have one first time read experience. Why make it a week when you can make it 5 years? That's my philosophy with that. The longer you can drag out first read experiences, the better. I don't really think that, but there is like a point where I don't mind that. It is kind of sad to finish a book really fast. But then you just get to spend more time in that. But the first read experience is just different from others, Yeah, exactly. That's why I'll have all these channels, because it's like you guys get to vicariously live through me reading it for the first time. Yes, Michael, you're getting so into it that Danny is now Daenerys. Love the unfinished work. Get to make it up in your head. Honestly, sometimes I actually think that's a very valid point. If I was I'm not saying I think George is struggling to figure out how to finish it. Obviously, he doesn't know what to do for certain things. There's certain problems that are arising. But he's so memorialized. If he comes out with another book and it's a dud, people will be so bummed. Like, what's worse? Ending a series poorly or just not ending it at all? I would say ending it poorly is worse than not ending it at all. Like, I would rather a series be unfinished than ended poorly. And so I would kind of be okay with him not publishing the last two, or at least not publishing the last one. Then like we can do a fan imagination stuff. Like we can just all chat about it for years. It would be a bummer. Yeah, ending it poorly is worse. I totally agree. Totally agree. So, I don't know. We'll see. I do hope that he does finish. There's like a part of me that is still hoping, but I'm not as enmeshed in all that kind of stuff. So I maybe I'll become more cynical as I read. Yeah, tons of fan fiction and stuff like that. Yeah. Yeah. Totally agree. Yeah, some good TV series that get canceled early. Honestly, it's like a blessing sometimes. A little blessing in disguise. Honestly, sometimes I think that he's doing that. I think that he's already finished them and is just withholding them to just mess with everyone. It'd be great marketing. I just hope that one day he just drops the books, or at least just drops the next book. Is like, by the way, I've just finished it. But that's like a very Brandon Sanderson thing to do. You know, during 3 months of COVID, he comes out with 20 books. And he's like, by the way, I have another book, another book, another book. And he just keeps writing. But they're differently written. So, patiently waiting for the book that was promised. Honestly, I would be okay with him publishing the next book. I would really love that. But I don't think that him publishing the last one would be necessary. Wait, we're going to get a Winds of Winter announcement on August 1st. 30 years after the release of A Game of Thrones. Interesting. That'd be kind of fun. That'd be really fun. Is Winds of Winter Winds of Winter right after? What's the next? So, hold on. I mean, I don't know what the 5 are called. I just know A Game of Thrones. What are the last 2 called? The Winds of Winter and Dream of Spring? Why does that ring a bell? It is Dream of Spring. Okay, nice. That was a lucky guess. I feel like I've heard that in some kind of cultural setting. The Winds of Winter and A Dream of Spring. Okay, interesting. The prophecy has been foretold. So let it be written. Let it be done. All right, guys, we're going to jump in and read. My lighting is sucky today, but I didn't get a new light. Usually I go by window light. That's the only thing I do. But now I have this, which can be way too bright. Oh my gosh. It can go really bright. I don't know if it can go that bright. Oh my gosh. That's brutal. It's just like a little filler light. We'll just do that just to even it out. Just in case it just keeps being partially cloudy and the clouds just keep messing up my lighting. Also, I dream of spring because this winter has been brutal. I'm excited for spring, but spring just doesn't seem to come. All right, here we go. I'm just going to read 2 chapters. And after I read this, we'll talk about when we'll do the next read. I'll probably end up doing like 1 read a week. That's probably what we'll kind of end up doing. But right now we're going to read the Bran chapter and the Tyrion chapter, with a small potential for doing the Jon chapter, but I kind of doubt it. Because actually the Jon chapter is small, so let's just do the Jon chapter. We're just going to read 3 chapters. It's a short chapter. So yeah, we've had a long winter this year. You have to turn your AC. I don't even know what AC is anymore. I much prefer hot over cold weather. Although my dog has taught me to like cold weather because he just loves cold weather. So I've been out in cold weather, learning how to live with it. All right, here we go, guys. We're gonna start reading. This is the second Bran chapter, I think. The second Bran chapter. I'm gonna put a little note on these. Number 2 for Bran. This is the second Bran chapter. The hunt left at dawn. The king wanted wild boar at the feast tonight. Prince Joffrey rode with his father, so Robb had been allowed to join the hunters as well. Uncle Benjen, Jory Mormont? No, that's Jorah Mormont. Jory is their like the king's attendant or something like that, right? Uncle Benjen, Jory, Theon Greyjoy, Sir Roderick, and even the queen's funny little brother had all ridden out with them. It was the last hunt after all. On the morrow, they left for the south. Bran had been left behind with Jon and all the girls in Rickon. But Rickon was only a baby, and the girls were only girls, and Jon and his wolf were nowhere to be found. Bran did not look for him very hard. He thought Jon was angry at him. Jon seemed to be angry at everyone these days. Puberty? Jory is part of the Stark household. That's right. Okay. Captain of the household guard. Okay. Thank you. Jon seemed to be angry at everyone these days. Bran did not know why. He was going with Uncle Benjen to the Wall to join the Night's Watch. That was almost as good as going south with the king. Robb was the only one they were leaving behind, not Jon. Why is Jon angry? Interesting. It's weird he's mad. For days, Bran could scarcely wait to be off. He was going to ride the King's Road on a horse of his own. Not a pony, but a real horse. His father would be the hand of the king, and they were going to live in the Red Castle at King's Landing. The castle the Dragon Lords had built. Old Nan said there were ghosts there, and dungeons where terrible things had been done, and dragon heads on the wall. It gave Bran a shiver, just to think of it, but he was not afraid. How could he be afraid? His father would be with him, and the king with all his knights and sworn swords. Bran was going to be a knight himself someday, one of the King's Guard. Old Nan said they were the finest swords in all the realm. There were only 7 of them, and they wore white armor and had no wives or children. That's interesting. Are these the white cloaks, I'm guessing? I didn't know there were only 7 of them. That's really interesting. And had no wives or children, but lived only to serve the king. Bran knew all the stories. Their names were like music to him. Serwyn of the Mirror Shield, Sir Ryam Redwine, Prince Aemon, the Dragon Knight, the twins, Sir Eric and Sir Arik, who had died on one another's swords hundreds of years ago when brother fought sister in the war the singers called the Dance of the Dragons. No way! That's cool! That's crazy. Sir Arthur Dayne, the Sword of the Morning, Barristan the Bold. That's cool! Yeah, first little Easter egg right there. That's fun. Sir Eric and Sir Arik. That's crazy. Do I know this Prince Aemon of Dragon Knight? Aemon seems like a very Targaryen line. Prince Aemon the Dragon Knight. I don't know the Dragon Knight. One of the eras isn't explored too much. Okay, interesting. And that's the thing. There's too many Aegons. So I don't know even who Aegon the Fourth is. He's a Lancelot of Westeros. Interesting. Interesting. Okay, cool. Barristan the Bold, too. Okay. Sir Arthur Dayne. All right. Sir Arthur Dayne. Two of the Kingsguard had come north with King Robert. Bran had watched them with fascination, never quite daring to speak to them. Sir Boros was a bald man with a jowly face, and Sir Meryn had droopy eyes and a beard the color of rust. Sir Meryn and Sir Boros. Sir Boros. Sir Jaime Lannister looked more like knights, more like the knights in the stories, and he was of the Kingsguard too. But Robb said he had killed the old Mad King, and shouldn't count anymore. Oh, interesting. Okay, we know Robb's perspective on things. The greatest living knight was Sir Barristan Selmy. Barristan the Bold. Oh, that is Barristan the Bold. Okay, cool. He has a name. The Lord Commander of the Kingsguard. Father had promised that they would meet Sir Barristan when they reached King's Landing, and Bran had been marking the days on his wall, eager to depart, to see a world he had only dreamed of, and begin a life he could scarcely imagine. Yet now that the last day was at hand, suddenly Bran felt lost. Winterfell had been the only home he had ever known. His father had told him that he ought to say his farewells today, and he had tried. After the hunt had ridden out, he wandered through the castle with his wolf at his side, intending to visit the ones who would be left behind. Old Nan, and Gage the cook, Mikken in his smithy, Hodor, the stable boy who smiled so much and took care of his pony and never said anything but Hodor. Aw, the man in the glass garden who gave him blackberry when he came to visit. But it was no good. He had gone to the stable first and seen his pony there in the stall. Except it wasn't his pony anymore. He was getting a real horse and leaving the pony behind. And all of a sudden, Bran just wanted to sit down and cry. He turned and ran off before Hodor and the other stable boys could see tears in his eyes. That was the end of his farewells. Instead, Bran spent the morning alone in the Godswood, trying to teach his wolf to fetch a stick and failing. The wolfling was smarter than any of the hounds in his father's kennel, and Bran would have sworn he understood every word that was said to him, but he showed very little interest in chasing sticks. He was still trying to decide on a name. Robb was calling his Grey Wind because he ran so fast. Sansa had named hers Lady, and Arya named hers after some old witch queen in the songs. And little Rickon called his Shaggy Dog, which Bran thought was a pretty stupid name for a direwolf. Jon's wolf, the white one, was Ghost. Bran wished he had thought of that first, even though his wolf wasn't white. He had tried 100 names in the last fortnight, but none of them sounded right. Aw, cute. I forgot what he called his direwolf. Don't tell me. Finally, he got tired of the stick game and decided to go climbing. He hadn't been up to the Broken Tower for weeks with everything that had happened, and this might be his last chance. He raced across the Godswood, taking the long way around to avoid the pool where the heart tree grew. The heart tree had always frightened him. Trees ought not have eyes, Bran thought, or leaves that look like hands. His wolf came sprinting at his heels. You stay here, he told him, at the base of the sentinel tree near the armory wall. Lie down. That's right. Now stay. The wolf did as he was told. Bran scratched him behind the ears, then turned away, jumped, grabbed a low branch, and pulled himself up. He was halfway up the tree, moving easily from limb to limb, when the wolf got to his feet and began to howl. Aw. Bran looked back down. His wolf fell silent, staring up at him through slitted yellow eyes. A strange chill went through him. He began to climb again. Once more the wolf howled. "Quiet," he yelled. "Sit down. Stay. You're worse than mother." The howling chased him all the way up the trees until finally he jumped off onto the armory roof and out of sight. Huh. Cute. It's like a lot of interesting. Writers love to do. Writers love to do stuff with dogs. Like Emily Bronte was a big dog person, apparently, although she beat a dog, apparently. And people who love dogs, like I would write a lot of dogs and stories if I wrote stories. And it's like this dire wolf is warning Bran to not do this, because I feel like I know it's coming because of the show. I'm guessing there's not going to be like a build up to his climbing just so he knows that he's a climber. So cute little dog moment there. I love a good dog in a book. I don't think I'm gonna ever write a novel. I'll write a children's story, but maybe not a novel. Probably not a novel. The rooftops of Winterfell were Bran's second home. His mother often said that Bran could climb before he could walk. Bran could not remember when he first learned to walk, but he could not remember when he started to climb either. So he supposed it must be true. To a boy, Winterfell was a gray stone labyrinth of walls and tower and courtyards and tunnels spreading out in all directions. In the older parts of the castle, the halls slanted up and down so that you couldn't even be sure what floor you were on. The place had grown over the centuries like some monstrous stone tree, Maester Luwin once told him. And its branches were gnarled and thick and twisted, and its roots sunk deep into the earth. When he got out from under it and scrambled up near the sky, Bran could see all of Winterfell in a glance. He liked the way it looked, spread out beneath him. Only birds wheeling over his head while all the life of the castle went on below. Bran could perch for hours among the shapeless, rain-worn gargoyles that brooded over the first keep, watching it all. The men drilling with wood and steel in the yard, the cooks tending their vegetables in the glass garden, restless dogs running back and forth in kennels, the silence of the godswood, the girls gossiping beside the washing well. It made him feel like he was lord of the castle, in a way even Robb would never know. Again, this is one of those lines that feels like an ellipsis is after it. Like, I just keep having that meme of Jennifer Lawrence going, "What do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean?" Because it feels like every line that he writes, I just keep thinking, what does he mean by this line? It made him feel like he was lord of the castle in a way even Robb would never know. Like, this is like very futuristic. Like, how would he know that? Because, like, again, let me sit and analyze this line for a second. If I were writing this line, I would write this line this way. It made him feel like he was lord of the castle in a way even Robb might never understand. Because it's future potential. And I'm guessing this has to do with Bran in his future and what's going to really happen in his future. Again, guys, no spoilers at all because there's some people here who are reading it for the first time. So no spoilers at all. Like me. But I know the series, so I'm a little different from some people. But it makes me think it's more definitive in a way that Robb would never know. That is definitive. Not that he might not ever know. You know what I mean? future is definitive there. I don't know. It's an interesting perspective to write in. It taught him Winterfell's secrets too. The builders had not leveled the earth. Or the builders had not even leveled the earth. There were hills and valleys behind the walls of Winterfell. There was a covered bridge that went from the 4th floor of the bell tower across to the 2nd floor of the rookery. Bran knew about that, and he knew you can get inside the inner wall by the south gate, climb 3 floors, and run all the way around Winterfell through a narrow tunnel in the stone, and then come out on ground level at the north gate, with 100 feet of wall looming over you. Even Maester Luwin did not know that. Bran was convinced. His mother was terrified that one day Bran would slip off a wall and kill himself. He told her that he wouldn't, but she never believed him. Once she made him promise that he would stay on ground. He had managed to keep that promise for almost a fortnight, miserable every day until one night he had gone out to the window of his bedroom when his brothers were fast asleep. He confessed his crime the next day in a fit of guilt. Lord Eddard ordered him to the Godswood to cleanse himself. Guards were posted to see that Bran remained there all alone all night to reflect on his disobedience. Whoa! What a disciplinary action there. The next morning, Bran was nowhere to be seen. They finally found him fast asleep in the upper branches of the tallest sentinel tree, a sentinel in the grove. As angry as he was, his father could not help but laugh. "You're not my son," he told Bran when they fetched him down. "You're a squirrel. So be it. If you must climb, then climb, but try not to let your mother see you." That is so cute. Yeah, send him to the Forbidden Forest for a full night. That's a funny, interesting form of punishment right there. I love that Ned's able to laugh at that. Bran did his best, although he did not think he ever really fooled her. Since his father would not forbid it, she turned to others. Old Nan told him a story about a bad little boy who climbed too high and was struck down by lightning, and how afterward the crows came to peck out his eyes. Oh, there's a small thing here which makes me so happy because it says afterward and not afterwards. Americans, because anytime I'm reading Lord of the Rings, I always just say afterward instead of afterwards. Oh, it's the small things in life. American English versus the Queen's English. We just have the superior form of English over here. And how afterward, the crows came to peck out his eyes. Bran was not impressed. There were crows' nests atop the broken tower, where no one ever went but him. And sometimes he filled his pockets with corn before he climbed up there, and the crows ate it right out of his hand. None of them had ever shown the slightest bit of interest in pecking out his eyes. Interesting. Crows are cute. Crows are brilliant. Yeah, anyway versus anyways, exactly. Interesting. Crows are related to ravens, you know? Later, Maester Luwin built a little pottery boy and dressed him in Bran's clothes and flung him off the wall into the yard below to demonstrate what would happen to Bran if he fell. That had been fun, but afterward, Bran just looked at the Maester and said, "I'm not made of clay. And anyhow, I never fall." Then for a while the guards would chase him whenever they saw him on the roofs, or try to haul him down. That was the best time of all. It was like playing a game with his brothers, except that Bran always won. None of the guards could climb half so well as Bran, not even Jory. Most of the time they never saw him anyway. People never looked up. That was another thing he liked about climbing. It was almost like being invisible. These are so many fascinating lines in this. Man, what do you mean? George, what do you mean? He liked how it felt too, pulling himself up a wall stone by stone, fingers and toes digging hard into the small crevices between. He always took off his boots and went barefoot when he climbed. It made him feel as if he had 4 hands instead of 2. He liked the deep, sweet ache it left in his muscles afterward. He liked the way the air tasted way up high, sweet and cold as a winter peach. He liked the birds, the crows in the broken tower, the tiny little sparrows that nested in the cracks between the stones, the ancient owl that slept in the dusty loft above the old armory. Bran knew them all. Interesting. Bran is just searching every little nook and cranny of this. This is great. Because he just is seeing every little crack of Winterfell. And it just feels ominous for what his journey is going to be. Most of all, he liked going places that no one else could go, and seeing the gray sprawl of Winterfell in a way that no one else ever saw it. It made the whole castle Bran's secret place. His favorite haunt was the broken tower. Once it had been a watchtower, the tallest in Winterfell. A long time ago, 100 years before even his father had been born. A lightning strike had set it afire. The top third of the structure had collapsed inward, and the tower had never been rebuilt. Sometimes his father sent raiders into the basement of the tower to clean out the nests they had always found among the jumble of fallen stones and charred and rotten beams. But no one ever got up to the jagged top of the structure now except for Bran and the crows. He knew 2 ways to get there. You could climb straight up the side of the tower itself, but the stones were loose, the mortar that held them together long gone to ash, and Bran never liked to put his full weight on them. The best way was to start from the Godswood. Shinny up the tall sentinel, and cross over the armory and the guards' hall, leaping roof to roof barefoot so the guards wouldn't hear you overhead. That brought you up to the blind side of the first keep, the oldest part of the castle, a squat, round fortress that was taller than it looked. Only rats and spiders lived there now, but the old stones still made for good climbing. You can go straight up to where the gargoyles leaned out blindly over empty space, and swing from gargoyle to gargoyle, hand over hand, round to the north side. From there, if you really stretched, you could reach out and pull yourself over to the broken tower where it leaned close. The last part of the scramble, up to blackened stones to the Eyrie. The last part was a scramble up the blackened stones to the Eyrie, no more than 10 feet. And then the crows would come round to see if you'd brought any corn. That's an intense climb. We got like little mini Alex Honnold going on over here. I think it's really building it up so you understand how good of a climber he is, so that when he's pushed or when he falls, you really know that I mean, like, the characters, the people in Winterfell should know that it's really not a fall. Bran was moving from gargoyle to gargoyle with the ease of long practice when he heard the voices. He was so startled he almost lost his grip. The first keep had been empty all his life. Wait, so they're not in the tower. They're in the first keep. Okay. I do not like it, a woman was saying. There was a row of windows beneath him, and the voice was drifting out of the last window on the side. You should be the hand. Gods forbid, a man's voice replied lazily. It's not an honor I'd want. There's far too much work involved. Bran hung, listening, suddenly afraid to go on. They might glimpse his feet if he tried to swing by. Don't you see the danger this puts us in, the woman said. Robert loves the man like a brother. Robert can barely stomach his brothers. Not that I blame him. Stannis would be enough to give anyone indigestion. Don't play the fool. Stannis and Renly are one thing, and Eddard Stark is quite another. Robert will listen to Stark. Damn them both. I should have insisted that he name you, but I was certain Stark would refuse him. We ought to count ourselves fortunate, the man said. The king might as easily have named one of his brothers, or even Littlefinger, God's help us. Give me honorable enemies rather than ambitious ones, and I'll sleep more easily by night. Interesting. Great line, little Jamie. They were talking about father, Bran realized. He wanted to hear more. A few more feet, but they would see him if he swung out in front of the window. We will have to watch him carefully, the woman said. I would sooner watch you, the man said. He sounded bored. Come back here. Lord Eddard had never taken any interest in anything that happened south of the Neck, the woman said. Never, I tell you. Never. I tell you, he means to move against us. Why else would he leave the seat of his power? 100 reasons. Duty, honor. He yearns to write his name large across the book of history, to get away from his wife, or both. Perhaps he just wants to be warm for once in his life. His wife is Lady Erin's sister. It's a wonder Lysa was not here to greet us with her accusations. Bran looked down. There was a narrow ledge beneath the window, only a few inches wide. He tried to lower himself toward it. Too far. He would never reach. You fret too much. Lysa Arryn is a frightened cow. That frightened cow shared Jon Arryn's bed. If she knew anything, she would have gone to Robert before she fled King's Landing. When he had already agreed to foster that weakling son of hers at Casterly Rock, I think not. She knew the boy's life would be hostage to her silence. She may grow bolder now that he's safe atop the Eyrie. Mothers. The man made the words sound like a curse. I think birthing does something to your minds. You are all mad. He laughed. It was a bitter sound. Let Lady Arryn grow as bold as she likes. Whatever she knows, whatever she thinks she knows, she has no proof. He paused a moment. Or does she? Do you think the king will require proof? The woman said. I tell you, he loves me not. And whose fault is that, sweet sister? Bran studied the ledge. He could drop down. It was too narrow. To land on. But if he could catch it and hold, as he fell past, pull himself up. Except that might make noise. Draw them to the window. He was not sure what he was hearing, but he knew it was not meant for his ears. You are as blind as Robert, the woman was saying. If you mean I see the same thing, yes, the man said. I see a man who would sooner die than betray his king. He betrayed one already. Or have you forgotten? The woman said. Oh, I don't deny he's loyal to Robert. That's obvious. What happens when Robert dies and Joff takes the throne? And the sooner that comes to pass, the safer we'll all be. My husband grows more restless every day. Having Stark beside him will only make him worse. He's still in love with the sister. The insipid little dead 16-year-old. How long till he decides to put me aside for some new Lyanna? Interesting. It's funny to get other characters' perspectives, or it's funny to get like small little gauges on other characters as they're in this story already that aren't the main character in the chapter. Jamie is thinking like a man in this. He's not necessarily defending Ned's honor, but he kind of is at the same time. It's interesting. Like, I think I guess at this point, I don't think you characterize Cersei's behavior as paranoia. Maybe this isn't Cersei and Jamie. Maybe it's someone totally different in the book. Yeah, I don't know. Like, Cersei wouldn't have necessarily paranoia, but it could be bordering on that. Every move, she's just paranoid that it's going to affect her family or that it's directly because of her for some reason. Yeah, he kind of like has a respect for her. Yeah. Yeah, I'm kind of with you on that. Bran was suddenly very frightened. He wanted nothing so much as to go back the way he had come and find his brothers. Only, what would he tell them? He had to get closer, Bran realized. He had to see who was talking. Oh, go, leave, Bran. Don't do this. The man sighed. You should think less about the future and more about the pleasures at hand. Stop that, the woman said. Bran heard the sudden clasp of flesh on flesh. Then the man's laughter. Bran pulled himself up, climbed over the gargoyle, crawled out onto the roof. That was the easy way out. He moved across the roof to the next gargoyle, right above the window of the room where they were talking. All this talk is getting very tiresome, sister, the man said. Come here and be quiet. Bran sat astride the gargoyle, tightening his legs around it, and swung himself around, upside down. He hung by his legs and slowly stretched his head down toward the window. The world looked strange upside down. A courtyard swam dizzily below him, its stones still wet with melted snow. This is legitimately... Anybody see the Alex Honnold climb when he climbed the Chinese Taipei building? And then he put his foot in the thing and then hung upside down. This is Bran right now. This is such like a Mission Impossible coded thing. He's just like... He's like such a good climber. This is hilarious. And he's like, and on his finest moment, he's like doing this upside down before he's probably going to get tossed out of this window. Bran looked in the window. Inside the room, a man and a woman were wrestling. Sweet summer child. They were both naked. Bran could not tell who they were. The man's back was to him, and his body screened the woman from view as he pushed her against the wall. There were soft, wet sounds. Bran realized they were kissing. He watched, wide-eyed and frightened, his breath tight in his throat. The man had a hand down between her legs. And he must have been hurting her there because the woman started to moan low in her throat. Stop it, she said. Stop it, oh please. But her voice was low and weak, and she did not push him away. Her hands buried themselves in his hair, his tangled golden hair, and pulled his face down to her breast. Bran saw her face. Her eyes were closed and her mouth was open, moaning. Her golden hair swung from side to side as her head moved back and forth. But still, he recognized the queen. I need to have like a censored section, so we don't get doxxed for reading this stuff out loud. I should just mute myself whenever I'm reading a steamy scene, and then and then unmute myself as soon as it's over, so we don't get in trouble. Wait, when does Tyrion? Oh yeah, Tyrion does do gymnastics. He does a little like flip. That's right. Bran saw her face. Yeah, we'll just say they're wrestling. I'm not worried about YouTube, which sometimes gets you on that stuff. Yeah, there's definitely worse things on YouTube for sure, but YouTube is so random with how it cuts stuff and doesn't cut stuff. It's just dumb. Bran saw her face. Her eyes were closed and her mouth was open, moaning. Her golden hair swung from side to side as her head moved back and forth, but still he recognized the queen. She must have made a noise, or he must have made a noise. Suddenly her eyes opened, and she was staring right at him. Upside down. She screamed. Everything happened at once. The woman pushed the man away wildly, shouting and pointing. Bran tried to pull himself up, bending double as he reached for the gargoyle. He was in too much of a hurry. His hands scraped uselessly across the smooth stone, and in his panic his legs slipped, and suddenly he was falling. Whoa! Hold on. His hands scraped uselessly across smooth stone, and his panicked legs, he was falling. There was an instant of vertigo, a sickening lurch as the window flashed past. He shot out a hand, grabbed for the ledge, lost it, caught it again with his other hand. He swung against the building hard. The impact took the breath out of him. Bran dangled, one-handed, panting. Okay, so I thought he was just going to fall himself. Faces appeared in the window above him. The queen. And now Bran recognized the man beside her. They looked as much alike as reflections in a mirror. "He saw us," the woman said shrilly. "So he did," the man said. Bran's fingers started to slip. He grabbed the ledge with his other hand, fingernails dug into unyielding stone. The man reached down. "Take my hand," he said, "before you fall." Bran seized his arm and held on tight with all his strength. The man yanked him up to the ledge. "What are you doing?" the woman demanded. The man ignored her. He was very strong. He stood Bran up on the sill. "How old are you, boy?" 7, Bran said, shaking with relief. His fingers had dug deep gouges in the man's forearm. He let go sheepishly. The man looked over at the woman. "The things I do for love," he said with loathing. With loathing. He gave Bran a shove. Screaming, Bran went backward out of the window into empty air. There was nothing to grab onto. The courtyard rushed up to meet him. Somewhere off in the distance, a wolf was howling. Aww. Crows circled the broken tower, waiting for corn. Oh man, what a good ending to the chapter. Just writing a note. Man, that is wild. Yeah, and that's the first episode of Game of Thrones right there. They did a good job. The first episode. I got to rewatch the first episode now. At first, I thought he was just gonna fall himself. I don't know. I'm just gonna say that's a bit unrealistic. If you're upside down and you fall all of a sudden from trying to grab something, you go up, you try to grab it, you fall. There's no way that I think any child who's 7 years old can grab onto a ledge that's like probably 10 feet below him as he's falling and just grab that and hold it with his strength. Your fingertips can't do that, so you just pop off. But I don't know. Maybe Bran has superhuman strength. Maybe that's another thing from him. That is a great ending of the chapter. He's a very good climber. He's too good of a climber. Why do we fall, sir? So we can pick ourselves back up. I feel like a tree's a little different from a building, though. Like, I think you could do that on a tree branch because it's like more grabbable, bark, all that kind of stuff. Even like just wrapping yourself around it. A window ledge, I think, is hard. But maybe he does have supernatural strength. You never know. Honestly, yeah, he might have some climbing in his blood. That's actually a fair point. There's some weird things in here. Weird magic world of George R. R. Martin. Yeah, it's fantasy, so let's not be super realistic about this, but let's be somewhat realistic about this. He is the Alex Honnold of climbing. Um, Honestly, like someone needs to make a YouTube video of the same okay, so here's my idea. Netflix, come at me. You know how they like just broadcasted Alex Honnold's climb, where he climbed that building. They need to do a live stream where Bran Stark climbs through all these holes and things, and all of a sudden, when he's almost at the top, all of a sudden someone comes and pushes him out of a window. This was a great chapter. This was a crazy chapter. Man, the drama that comes in this chapter is crazy. Bran got what was coming for him. I know that's the show, but I'm saying they need to do like a live stream, like a Alex Honnold type climb. Imagine Alex Honnold gets up to the top window, and all of a sudden someone just pushes him out. Yeah, you guys are ruthless. Okay, I want to say something about Jaime. That I don't know if everyone's gonna agree with me on this. Sorry, my eyes are itchy all of a sudden. I don't know if everyone's gonna agree with me on this. Jaime saying this with loathing is fascinating to me, because there was a point right before I read that Jaime pushed him out. I thought in my head, Jaime doesn't seem like he's about to push him out right now. It seems like Cersei is going to go over there and push him out of the window. But Jaime does. So my question is, up until that point, Jaime was an honorable guy. Jaime shows actually a good code of ethics and conduct. That's just going to sound wild. In the chapter that he pushes his 7-year-old out of the window. This is going to sound crazy. Before that moment, if you eliminate the part where, okay, so he's banging his sister, eliminate that part. Also eliminate the part where he pushes a 7-year-old out of a window. I think if you look at it, he has a very good code of ethics. He seems to know what honor is. And maybe this is what makes his character so tragic in this section. Is that he knows what ethics are. He knows what it means to fight. It's almost like his sister is poisoning him. And I think that's kind of what the TV show kind of points out too. That he's just so blind and so dumb because of his love for his sister. That is every irrational thing that comes to him. But I kind of think that the negative qualities of him are because of his sister. Yeah, he's very conflicted. I definitely see that. I mean, that's like this in the series too. He was like everyone's favorite in the series because he was just like, he had an interesting character arc, which is crazy because he pushes a 7-year-old out of a window. Honestly, that's a great comparison and contrast. The difference between Jaime and Bobby B. I got to start thinking of some foils in this book. Who are foils for each other? Bobby B doesn't have a sense of justice and honor, but he would push someone out of a window, or he wouldn't push someone out of a window. He has ultimate sense of justice and right and wrong. Jaime has it right in some of the small things. I guess it's just they have it right in different things. Honestly, I do need a bot so that people don't spoil. Just everyone who knows, just don't spoil, and just throw it in the chat every once in a while. Otherwise, I could have a bot that comes up every minute saying, "Don't spoil." Yeah, I gotta remind people of that. Maybe I'll put like a little flash up on the screen every few minutes. Yeah. You guys obviously can discuss stuff that comes later in the books, but try not to do it so much in chat. Try to like read as I'm reading, which is impossible. But put yourself in my shoes and say, what do I know up until this point? I think that's a really fun thing to do when you're reading too. Obviously, you want to read if you're like studying a text. You want to read with everything in mind. But there is a point where you read it because the author is trying to lead you into certain things and have you understand certain things about characters without knowing any of the future. So some people burn through these books quick. I think it's fun to sit at a chapter for a little bit and go, what did George R. R. Martin, without knowing anything that comes after, what did George R. R. Martin want me to know and understand about this character? Just in this chapter alone. I don't know anything that's going to happen in the future. And I think the things that and I think this is, again, one of the reasons why I think George R. R. Martin is good with characterization in chapters is because I think he comes to the chapter, he understands his character so well that he comes to each chapter, and this is honestly like a brilliant way to write. Like, I think this is like, I don't know how George R. R. Martin writes, but for this book in particular, I would say that he probably has this in mind every time he has a chapter. Like, he is a character first writer. And he puts his characters in interesting positions, which every author does. But I also think that George R. R. Martin, when he's writing, so he's writing a Bran chapter right now. When he's coming to this chapter, he goes, what do I want to communicate in this chapter? I want to communicate something about Jaime, obviously. I want to communicate that Jaime is weirdly honorable. He is honor in certain things, but not honor in others. And I want to show that he's really a conflicted character and like he deals with ethics in different weird ways. That he thinks Ned Stark is honorable, that he's not looking behind his back all the time. But the weird thing is, all of a sudden this kid shows up and he is looking behind his back because this kid has been a spy. And it doesn't seem in Jaime's character, like for the Jaime that we know up until this point, to throw someone out of a window for this. Which is why I think the idea that he says the things I do for love, he says this with loathing. Like, that is, to me, such a good depiction of how he would say this. Where in the show, he says that with like lust, like luster, like enjoyment. You know what I mean? So I just think that's I think that's a good way to read. Like, him saying that with loathing is just phenomenal. So interesting. Because it's like he doesn't want to do this, but he has to do this. He's like trapped. Which feels very akin to the Jaime that I know in the series, in the show. Wes is over there sitting on the bed playing. Yeah, it is. He is really flippant. Yeah, exactly. Harry, did you put your name in the goblet of fire? Shaking Harry. That's what the script said. So interesting. One second. Let me put one more note and then we'll do the next chapter. Alrighty, here we go. This is the Tyrion chapter. Man, this book is good, guys. This book is really good. Somewhere in the great stone maze of Winterfell, a wolf howled. The sound hung over the castle like a flag of mourning. Tyrion Lannister looked up from his books and shivered, though the library was snug and warm. Something about the howling of a wolf took a man right out of his here and now and left him in a dark forest of the mind, running naked before the pack. When the direwolf howled again, Tyrion shut the heavy leather-bound cover of the book he was reading. 100-year-old discourse on the changing of the seasons by a long-dead maester. He covered a yawn with the back of his hand. Man, just reading about a yawn makes me yawn. Well, I know it's a critically acclaimed book, but I didn't know it was critically acclaimed writing-wise. This is a very well-written book. Obviously, but really, really, books like this have to be somewhat well-written. But a lot of books like this that are really popular are good stories, but they're not well-written. George R. Martin's is both. It is exceptionally well-written and a good story, which is a hard thing to do. A weirdly hard thing to do. He covered a yawn with the back of his hand. His reading lamp was flickering, its oil all but gone, as dawn light leaked through the high windows. He had not been at it all night, but that was nothing new. Tyrion Lannister was not much a one for sleeping. His legs were stiff and sore as he eased down off the bench. He massaged some life back into them and limped heavily to the table where the Septon was snoring softly, his head pillowed on an open book in front of him. Tyrion glanced at the title. A Life of the Grand Maester Aethelmure. No wonder. Chael, he said softly. The young man jerked up, blinking, confused, the crystal of his order swinging wildly on the silver chain. I'm off to break my fast. See that you return the books to the shelves. Be gentle with the Valyrian scroll. The parchment is very dry. Aramidon's Engines of War is quite rare, and yours is the only complete copy I've ever seen. Chael gaped at him, still half asleep. Patiently, Tyrion repeated his instructions and clapped the Septon on the shoulder and left him to his tasks. Hey, Wes, what's up, buddy? You want to go for a walk in a bit? We'll go for a walk right after this chapter, okay? Wes is looking at me like, let's go. It's walk time. He's right. It is walk time. I'm going to just finish this one chapter, and then I'm going to go. Outside, Tyrion swallowed a lungful of the cold morning air and began his laborious descent of the steep stone steps that corkscrewed around the exterior of the library tower. It was slow going. The steps were cut high and narrow while his legs were short and twisted. The rising sun had not yet cleared the walls of Winterfell. The men were already hard at work in the yard below. Sandor Clegane's rasping voice drifted up to him. The boy is a long time dying. I wish he would be quicker about it. Sandor Clegane. Yikes. What's up? Come here. Come say hi to everyone. Wes, come here. What's up? We'll go soon. Don't worry. Tyrion glanced down and saw the hounds standing with young Joffrey as squires swarmed around them. At least he dies quietly, the prince replied. It's the wolf that makes the noise. I could scarce sleep last night. Gosh, that is brutal. That is absurd. I could scarce sleep. I gotta have a weird Joffrey voice. I could scarce sleep last night. Clegane cast a long shadow across the hard-packed earth as the squire lowered the black helm over his head. I could silence the creature if it please you, he said through his open visor. The boy placed a long sword in his hand. He tested the weight of it, slicing at the cold morning air behind him. The yard rang to the clangor of steel on steel. My gosh. The notion seemed to delight the prince. Send a dog to kill a dog? He exclaimed. Winterfell is so infested with wolves, the Starks would never miss one. Tyrion hopped off the last step into the yard. I beg to differ, nephew, he said. The Starks can count past 6, unlike some princes I might name. Joffrey had the grace at least to blush. A voice from nowhere, Sandor replied. He peered through his helm, looking this way and that. Spirits of the air. The prince laughed, as he always does when his bodyguard did this mummer's farce. Tyrion was used to it. Down here. The tall man peered down at the ground and pretended to notice him. The little Lord Tyrion, he said, my pardons, I did not see you standing there. I am in no mood for your insolence today, Tyrion. Tyrion turned to his nephew. Joffrey, it is past time you called on Lord Eddard and his lady to offer them your comfort. Joffrey looked as petulant as only a boy prince can look. What good will my comfort do them? None, Tyrion said, yet it is expected of you. Your absence has been noted. The Stark boy is nothing to me, Joffrey said. I cannot abide the wailing of women. Tyrion Lannister reached up and slapped his nephew hard across the face. The boy's cheek began to redden. One word, Tyrion said, and I will hit you again. I'm going to tell Mother, Joffrey exclaimed. Tyrion! I love Tyrion. Tyrion hit him again. Now both cheeks flamed. Tell your mother, Tyrion told him. But first, you get yourself to Lord and Lady Stark if you fall on your knees in front of them, and you tell them how very sorry you are, and that you are at their service if the slightest thing you can do for them or theirs in this desperate hour, and then all your prayers go with them. Do you understand? Do you? The boy looked as though he was going to cry. Instead, he managed a weak nod. Then he turned and fled headlong from the yard, holding his cheek. Tyrion watched him run. Attaboy, Tyrion. Man alive. A shadow fell across his face. He turned to find Clegane looming over him like a cliff. His soot-dark armor seemed to blot out the sun. He had lowered the visor on his helm. It was fashioned in the likeness of a snarling black hound, fearsome to behold, but Tyrion had always thought it a great improvement over Clegane's hideously burned face. The prince will remember that, little lord, the hound warned him. The helm turned his laugh into a hollow rumble. I pray he does, Tyrion Lannister replied. If he forgets, be a good dog and pray remind him. He glanced around the courtyard. Do you know where I might find my brother? Breaking fast with the queen. Ah, Tyrion said. He gave Sandor Clegane a perfunctory nod and walked away as briskly as his stunted legs would carry him, whistling. He pitied the first knight to try the hound today. The man did have a temper. A cold, cheerless meal had been laid out in the morning room of the guest house. Jaime sat at table with Cersei and the children, talking in low, hushed voices. Is Robert still abed? Tyrion asked as he seated himself, uninvited at his table. His sister had peered at him with the same expression of faint distaste she had worn since the day he was born. The king has not slept at all, she told him. He is with Lord Eddard. He has taken their sorrow deeply to heart. He has a large heart, our Robert, Jaime said with a lazy smile. There was very little Jaime took seriously. Tyrion knew about his brother and forgave it. During all the terrible long years of his childhood, only Jaime had ever shown him the smallest measure of affection or respect, and for that Tyrion was willing to forgive him for most anything. Interesting. A servant approached. Bread, Tyrion told him, and 2 of those little fish, and a mug of that good dark beer to wash them down. Oh, and some bacon. Burn it until it turns black. The man bowed and moved off. Tyrion turned back to his siblings. Twins, male and female. They looked very much the part this morning. Both had chosen a deep green that matched their eyes. Their blonde curls were all a fashionable tumble, and gold ornaments shone at wrists and fingers and throats. Tyrion wondered what it would be like to have a twin and decided that he would rather not know. Bad enough to face himself in the looking glass every day. Another hymn was a thought too dreadful to contemplate. Interesting. Hello, Wes. What's up, buddy? We're going to go for a walk soon, okay? I promise. I know. You're ready to go. He just is sitting here looking at me. Here's a Wes cam. This is Wes right now. See if I can get it on him. Whoop. This is Wes right now, just looking at me, waiting for me to finish my read. It's like, why is this taking so long? Just lost my place, Wes. You're killing me. You're killing me, buddy. All right, we'll go soon. We'll go soon. Just stop looking at me like that. Live stream the walk while reading Game of Thrones. I don't mind that. That'd be too hectic. Wes, one more page. Come here. Wes, come here. Come say hi to everyone. Come say hi. Oh, you're a little stinker. All right. We're gonna go soon. All right. Where am I? Prince Tommen spoke up. Do you have news of Bran, Uncle? I stopped by the sick room last night, Tyrion announced. There was no change. The maester thought that a hopeful sign. I don't want Bran to die, Tommen said, timorously. He was a sweet boy, not like his brother. But then Jaime and Tyrion were... oh no, this is talking about Tommen. Tommen was a sweet boy, not like his brother. But then Jaime and Tyrion were somewhat less than peas in a pod themselves. Lord Eddard had a brother named Brandon as well. What, Wes? What? Go get it. Go get him. Go get your bear. Go get it. Lord Eddard had a brother named Brandon as well, Jaime mused. One of the hostages murdered by Targaryen. It seems to be an unlucky name. Oh, not so unlucky as all that, surely, Tyrion said. The servant brought his plate. He ripped off a chunk of black bread. Cersei was studying him warily. What do you mean? Tyrion gave her a crooked smile. Why, only that Tommen may get his wish. The maester thinks the boy may yet live. He took a sip of beer. Myrcella gave a happy gasp and Tommen smiled nervously, but it was not the children Tyrion was watching. The glance that passed between Jaime and Cersei lasted no more than a second, but he did not miss it. Then his sister dropped her gaze to the table. That is no mercy. These northern gods are cruel to let the child linger in such pain. Wes, what are you doing, bud? I think he really has to go to the bathroom or something like that. So I got to finish this chapter fast. We're going to speed read this chapter. You got to pee? All right. What were the maester's words? Jaime asked. The bacon crunched when he bit into it. Tyrion chewed thoughtfully for a moment and said, he thinks that if the boy were going to die, he would have done so already. It has been 4 days with no change. Will Bran get better, Uncle? Little Myrcella asked. She had all of her mother's beauty and none of her nature. His back is broken, little one, Tyrion told her. The fall shattered his legs as well. They keep him alive with honey and water, or he would starve to death. Perhaps if he wakes, he will be able to eat real food, but he will never walk again. If he wakes, Cersei repeated. Is that likely? The gods alone know, Tyrion told her. The maester only hopes. The maester only hopes. He chewed some more bread. I would swear that wolf of his keeps howling. That wolf of his is keeping the boy alive. The creature is outside his window day and night howling. Every time they chase it away, it returns. The maester said they closed the window once to shut out the noise, but Bran seemed to weaken. And they opened it again. His heart beat stronger. Ah! Is Bran a warg? Wes, you just are so weird right now. All right, we'll go in a second, buddy. The queen shuddered. There is something unnatural about those animals, she said. They are dangerous. I will not have them coming south with us. Jaime said, you'll have a hard time stopping them, sister. They follow those girls everywhere. Tyrion started on his fish. Are you leaving soon then? Are you leaving soon? My book has a little type or has a little ink miss. Are you leaving soon then? Not near enough. Not near soon enough, Cersei said. Then she frowned. Are we leaving? She echoed. What about you? Gods, don't tell me you are staying here. Tyrion shrugged. Benjen Stark is returning to the Night's Watch with his brother's bastard. I have a mind to go with them and see this wall we have heard so much of. Jaime smiled. I hope you're not thinking of taking the black on us, sweet brother. Tyrion laughed. What, me, Celibate? The whores would go begging from Dorne to Casterly Rock. No, I just want to stand atop the wall and piss off the edge of the world. Cersei stood abruptly. The children don't need to hear this filth. Tommen, Myrcella, come. She strode briskly from the morning room, her train and her pups trailing behind her. Jaime Lannister regarded his brother thoughtfully with these cool green eyes. Stark will never consent to leave Winterfell with his sons lingering in the shadow of death. He will if Robert commands it, Tyrion said. And Robert will command it. There is nothing Lord Eddard can do for the boy in any case. He could end his torment, Jaime said. I would if you were my son. It would be a mercy. Would he? I advise against putting that suggestion to Lord Eddard's sweet brother, Tyrion said. He would not take it kindly. Even if the boy does live, he will be a cripple. Worse than a cripple, a grotesque. Give me a good, clean death. Tyrion replied with a shrug that accentuated the twist of his shoulders. Speaking for the grotesques, he said, I beg to differ. Death is so... Gosh, Ciri, what the heck? No. Quiet. That's creepy. Death is so terribly final when life is full of possibilities. Jaime smiled. You are a perverse little imp, aren't you? Oh yes, Tyrion admitted. I hope the boy wakes up. I would be most interested to hear what he might have to say. His brother's smile curdled like sour milk. Tyrion, my sweet brother, he said darkly, there are times when you give me cause to wonder whose side you are on. Tyrion's mouth was full of bread and fish. He took a swallow of strong black beer to wash it all down, and grinned up wolfishly at Jaime. Why, Jaime, my sweet brother, he said. You wound me. You know how much I love my family. Huh. Interesting. Wes, you're being crazy right now. Wes is trying to play tug of war with me. Interesting chapter. Okay. That feels like a transitional chapter. Hey. All right, guys, I'm going to sign off because Wes is really wanting to go outside and go for a walk. I think he's got to pee. Good chapter. I'll come up with some videos after this, but Tyrion definitely knows what's up. Tyrion seems like the smartest character in this novel. I think that was what my take in this chapter was. And I love the relationship of the kids and the wolves. It's like one of my favorite parts because I like dogs. Like you, Wes. Yeah. All right, guys, I'm going to jump off. Lots of interesting things in that chapter to talk about, but I'll make some videos about it and then we'll go from there. I really do like Tyrion. All right, guys, have a good one. Have a good Saturday, as always, and I'll see you in the next one. I don't know when the next one's going to be, sometime next week, but I'll let you know. Like a few hours in advance. Later, guys.